It's time for another Dice Tower review with the Board Game Knights.
Hello and welcome to the Board Game Knights. I'm Sam Gillespie.
I'm Christoph Schrader.
I'm Jessica James.
And for the second part of our Game of Thrones special, we're reviewing the Game of Thrones card game, which is a 2 to 4 player game released by Fantasy Flight and takes about half an hour to 2 hours to play depending on the number of players. The Game of Thrones card game is a living card game, which means that it is constantly receiving additional expansions to change through all possible deck opportunities.
The core game comes with 4 houses you can play: House Lannister, Baratheon, Stark, and Targaryen.
Today we'll be reviewing just the base set, but there are additional houses that you can purchase.
Each player will have their own personalized deck related to their house, which contains their house card, which outlines the round sequence, will contain 7 plot cards, and then a deck containing characters, attachments, events, and locations, and all of these are fully customizable.
The first part of the round sequence is the plot phase. Players will choose one of their 7 plot cards to play it for: the income value, listed at the top, the initiative, which determines turn order, and the claim value, which is your attack strength for that round.
The second part is your mandatory draw. You draw 2 cards. Then you can purchase as many cards as you want with the gold that you've gotten in your supply. That adds them to your forces.
Once every player has completed their marshalling phase, the players can then launch challenges against other players determined by the player order in the plot phase. Players can launch a combat attack, or red, against another player, and if they succeed, they get to kill one of their characters.
The green intrigue attack lets you remove a card from the other person's hand.
Now, the arguably most interesting one is the power challenge, the blue icon. This is where players will take power tokens from another person's own house card. The interesting thing of challenges is that to participate in a challenge, either attacking or defending, you have to have characters that have the corresponding icon on them.
In order to defend, you will tap, use, or kneel your character, which means that they cannot then attack another character.
Yep, and if you do not defend an attack, then the opposing player gets 1 additional victory point token. Once all players have completed their challenges, then we move to the dominance phase. Whoever has the most remaining money and combat strength that hasn't been spent in combats or challenges gets dominance, which gives them 1 free victory point. There are some event cards that can only be played if you have dominance as well.
The next phase is called the standing phase. This is a very simple phase in which all spent or knelt characters during the round are then stood up again, ready for the beginning of the next round.
The last phase of the round is the taxation phase. So any leftover money is put back to the bank. It means that there's a big focus on spending all your money beforehand unless you really want dominance.
Generally, it's much more advantageous to have as many cards played as you possibly can.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then the game will continue until one player reaches 15 victory point tokens, which makes them immediately the winner. So we'll start off by talking about the 2-player game, because this is a 2 to 4 player game, and actually does change its experience quite significantly with the number of players, yes. In the 2-player one, you just choose 2 houses and play against each other, and it's much more focused and directed, and there's none of that sort of trying to convince people to join you or...
I go kill him and I'll help you later.
It's referred to as the joust method for this game, and it's also the tournament play for this game, and I can see it as a head-to-head. The deck building would be imperative to making this game excellent for the joust.
Yes.
The cards you choose will change it drastically, particularly plot cards you choose to play and how they combine then with your different characters.
Yeah, again, we don't actually have all the expansions, so we don't know how well that deck building aspect compares against other collectible and living card games. But it seems to be a very popular LCG, so it's probably pretty good at any rate. In the 3 to 4 player game, however, you add this little board in here which has 6 of these little rolls. And each of these rolls gives a little benefit. And what happens is when you do the marshalling phase? It's the marshalling phase that you choose these, isn't it?
No, it's during the plot phase. After everyone plays a plot card, it's then determined by initiative. So the person who gains initiative chooses the first player, and the first player will then choose one. A big one that I like is this guy here, the Crown Regent. He gets +3 strength for all power challenges, and he also gets to redirect 1 challenge each round.
And I mean, there's ones that give you bonus to combat, there's ones that give you bonus to intrigue, and give you more coin, give you more cards, give you more influence, which you need for some cards.
The bigger thing is that they actually change your alliances. So the Crown Regent doesn't have any alliances. He doesn't support or oppose anyone.
It's the same with this one.
However, and these 4 in the middle support each other. So if, for instance, you take the Hand of the King, and someone else takes the Master of Laws cannot attack the Hand of the King because they support them. Also, the Master of Coin opposes the Hand of the King, which means that when they fight and compete, they get a bonus victory point if they succeed.
Yes.
So it starts promoting more attacking between those two players.
It's really a multiplayer draft.
If you don't want someone to attack you, then you immediately find out if they go before you find out what they've got, and then you go, well, you can't attack me now.
Exactly.
So deciding, when you have initiative, deciding who is the first player is very important in a multiplayer game, because you want to see that change. You'll be either throwing two people to fight each other, or you'll be defending yourself, betting on what you choose.
Yeah.
In a 4-player game, you'd take 4 of these rolls, and then at the end of the round, you'll put them all back. But in the 3-player game, you'll take 3 rolls, and then on the next round, you'll have to take the remaining rolls.
Yeah.
And I actually really dislike this.
Yes.
This is one of the things that just annoyed me.
We changed it for a 3-player game. We changed it that we always reset back to the full
because
6.
The thing means that if you end up going last every second turn, you're forced to take a roll that you may not want. You might have nothing in the way of physical combat. Everyone else takes the other 2, laughing away as you've got +3 combat strength and nothing to launch combat challenges with. And it does mean that, the initiative becomes important every second round, which means you'll save all your high initiative cards for every second round. And it just,
if you want to play
another cool thing with the initiative is that when you do get initiative, you don't actually have to go first yourself. What happens is you choose who gets to go first, which can be very beneficial, because sometimes going first isn't always the best thing.
Oh, no.
Yes, because going last means you get to see what other people's roles are in this sort of mini game. And also when you launch attacks, you can choose to defend, and if you're the last player, you know that you can launch all your attacks because you're not saving those to defend. Because
there's no more coming.
Yeah, if you're first player and you choose to attack with everything, then you've got nothing left to defend, and then they'll just absolutely roll you. Whereas if you're last, it's actually kind of better to go last in this game.
Yeah, I've heard a couple of times where I was like, well, should I attack? Because I'd be able to quickly defeat them and destroy this other person, but then I know that Sam's going to come in and steal
You're left vulnerable.
I'd never do such a thing.
I know, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Bad luck.
Well, moving on, I've got one complaint about this. I love the game personally. My biggest complaint, though, being an LCG format, it's not beholden to LCGs, but it isn't quite complete with the base set. The biggest problem is that they are not quite balanced, in my opinion, for the core set. For example, House Lannister is a little bit weak. They have some good intrigue challenges, but generally they don't have many good cards. Whereas House Stark has so many good cards, and they are generally overpowered.
I don't know if I agree with you there, Christoph. I think that the Lannister deck is very powerful, but I think that maybe you haven't tried some of the other strategies quite enough to really give it that judgment. I'm not going to say that any deck is more powerful than another, because I haven't had that much experience with the game, but in my experience, they all seem reasonably well balanced against each other. That's what I've seen anyway.
I've seen some poorly balanced games, but this one here, you can actually feel like there's individuality in each of the decks. At the same time, they're also sort of balanced.
And it's also hard to judge whether or not a game is balanced, because you could have just had rubbish draws as Lannister.
Yeah,
that is very true. I could have had, because I did not see Tywin in both games I played with the Lannisters, and he is the best card in that deck to start with.
Yeah,
if you never get your good card out, then you just
Yeah, exactly. So there's that aspect of it all. And there's another really serious concern about this game that we really can't go past. To play in a tournament game, a deck needs to have how many cards, Christoph?
I think it's 60.
60 cards is a tournament legal deck. In the base set of the game, there's 180 cards, which means that if you play a 4-player game,
there's 45 in each.
45 in each deck.
They're not complete for tournament play.
So if you want to play a tournament play, you'll need to essentially harvest several decks, and you can probably only make 2 actually tournament legal decks.
You would have to. The other option is getting another core set, and then you can build a deck from that.
Yeah, that's wrong. That's not acceptable.
I don't feel like you have to buy 2 copies of a game to actually play it properly.
Yes, I feel like that's unacceptable. You should be able to have tournament legal decks straight out of the box from an LCG game.
For Fantasy Flight with LCGs, they have Android Netrunner, which is essentially complete.
Yeah,
the box.
You don't need any more. They've even got extra cards that you can throw in. It's fantastic in that respect.
Which was a shame, because the gameplay is actually really good. It's a lot of fun.
It is
and
really.
I will say it outright. I prefer this over the board game because of that. It's a lot faster.
It is a lot faster.
You learn it a lot faster. And if you do fall behind, you can always just quickly struggle back, because there are cards in here which will just kill all of the characters. So if everyone else has more characters than you, you're like, oh, I'm gonna do this.
And then everyone just goes,
and then the Stark player will then play Valar Morghulis and kill every character on the board.
Again.
So there is a lot of catch-up mechanics, which I didn't find in the Game of Thrones board game. In that one, if you're coming last, you're gonna stay last.
Yeah.
Because you need more in the board game. You need territories to build more units. You lose territories, you get no more units. That's it.
Generally, it's more interesting, the card game, but the theme in the board game is more successful.
Absolutely. I would say that this one doesn't really feel that much like a Game of Thrones game.
No. The other thing is that if you've got 3 players, you might have the difficulty of 2 players ganging up on the 1 player. But
which is fine.
It just feels a little awkward compared to the
board game.
The 4th player one.
Yeah, I think that there are other games that have that as a much more serious issue. In this one, you can steal power. If someone has no power tokens, no victory tokens, you're going to steal from the person that does.
Yes.
So there is that aspect of it as well. And if someone's got no intrigue, and everyone's going to have a weakness. Everyone's going to have a weak spot that you're going to hit.
If given the choice to do a power challenge against someone with 14 power tokens who's just about to win versus someone with 2.
That's very true. Yeah. The aggression in this game is a lot easier to do than the board game because it's just like, well, I can see that he's winning. I'm gonna go kill him. Whereas with the board game, you would be trying to choose who exactly you wanted to defeat. Whereas this one here is just like, that's the person I want to attack because they're eating me.
Exactly.
Pretty simple.
And that's pretty much our thoughts on the game.
Yeah,
essentially.
It's a pretty good game.
Yeah.
I really like it.
We hope you enjoyed our review of the living card game for A Game of Thrones.
And also our review for the board game as well, which isn't as good as the card game.
It is known.
It is known.
We are the Board Game Knights.
And we'll see you next time here at the Dice Tower.
Thanks for watching our review today. For more information about board games, as well as the #1 board game audio podcast, check out Dicetower.com for reviews, interviews, and more. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.